I still remember the exact moment my own sister looked me in the eyes and destroyed everything I had worked for. The room was filled with soft music, crystal chandeliers, and hundreds of the city's most powerful people. Laughter floated through the air like perfume. I stood there in my crisp military dress uniform, the one I had earned through years of sacrifice, sweat, and silent battles most people will never understand. The fabric felt heavy on my shoulders that night, not from the weight of medals, but from the quiet pride I carried inside. My sister, Elena, was hosting her lavish engagement party. She had always been the golden child, the one who smiled perfectly for photos, the one our parents adored, the one who believed the world revolved around her. I was the older sister who chose a different path. While she chased luxury and attention, I chose service. I joined the military right after college. I rose through the ranks quietly, handling responsibilities that required discipline, loyalty, and strength most civilians can't even imagine. That evening, I had rushed straight from base to her venue after a long shift. I wanted to support her, even though she had barely spoken to me in months. "Just don't embarrass me," she had texted earlier. I smiled at the memory as I adjusted my uniform in the mirror. I thought family was supposed to lift each other up. But what I didn't know was that Elena had been whispering behind my back for weeks. She told her rich friends that I was just playing soldier, that my uniform was embarrassing, that I didn't belong in her perfect world. She was ashamed of me, and that night, she decided to prove it. I walked into the main hall holding a small gift for her. Heads turned. Some guests nodded with respect when they saw the uniform. Others whispered. Elena spotted me from across the room. Her smile froze. She grabbed a full glass of deep red wine from a passing tray and walked straight toward me, her heels clicking like warnings I didn't hear. "Elena, you look beautiful," I said softly, trying to keep the moment warm. She stopped right in front of me. Her eyes were cold. In a voice loud enough for the nearest tables to hear, she hissed, "I told you not to wear that thing here. You're ruining my night." Before I could respond, she lifted the glass and poured the entire contents straight onto my chest. The red wine splashed across my white dress shirt and jacket, soaking deep into the fabric, staining the medals I had earned with blood and tears. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone dropped a plate. Time seemed to slow down as the wine dripped down my uniform like blood. I stood there frozen, my heart shattering into 1,000 pieces. My own sister had just humiliated me in front of everyone who mattered to her. And apparently, I didn't. The stain spread quickly, turning my proud uniform into something ugly and ruined. I could feel the liquid seeping through to my skin, cold and sticky, just like the betrayal sinking into my chest. Tears burned behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not there. Not in front of her. Elena stepped back, a satisfied smirk on her face. "Now maybe you'll understand you don't belong here," she said loudly. Loud enough for the whole room to hear. A few of her friends laughed nervously. Others looked away in discomfort. The music seemed to fade into the background as humiliation washed over me in waves. In that moment, every memory flashed through my mind. All the times I had covered for her growing up. All the nights I called our parents from overseas while she partied. All the promotions I celebrated alone because she was too busy. I had always made excuses for her jealousy. I told myself she was just insecure, that deep down she loved me. But standing there with red wine dripping from my medals, I finally saw the truth. She wasn't just embarrassed by my uniform. She was threatened by what it represented, my strength, my discipline, my quiet success that didn't need her approval or her spotlight. While she built her life on appearances and money, I had built mine on honor. And she hated that. My hands trembled as I tried to wipe the stain, but it only smeared worse. Whispers grew louder. How could she do that to her own sister? Someone murmured. Elena turned to her guests with fake tears in her eyes. She always tries to make everything about her. She lied smoothly. Look what she made me do. My heart broke completely in that second. The sister I had protected my whole life had just publicly destroyed me. I felt small. I felt worthless. For a brief moment, the strong woman in uniform disappeared, and all that remained was a little girl who wanted her sister to love her. But pain has a way of waking you up. I lifted my chin, looked her straight in the eyes, and said quietly, "You just made the biggest mistake of your life, Elena." She laughed in my face. "What are you going to do? Report me to your little base?" I didn't answer. I simply turned and walked toward the exit, wine still dripping from my ruined uniform, leaving a trail of red behind me like a warning. My mind was already racing, because what Elena didn't know, what almost no one in that room knew, was that my role in the military wasn't just any ordinary service. I worked in a specialized unit, the kind that coordinates directly with law enforcement and security teams when high-profile events need protection. And this venue, it had been on our radar for weeks due to credible threats involving one of the elite guests. I had been the one quietly assigned to monitor the situation from inside. Elena thought she was humiliating a lowly soldier. She had no idea she had just assaulted someone whose uniform carried far more authority than she could imagine. As I stepped outside and made the call, my voice was steady despite the tears I finally let fall in private. "This is Captain, your name. I need immediate assistance at the venue. Code Red Protocol." The response came fast. "Units en route. ETA 60 seconds. My shattered heart began to feel something else, a quiet, burning resolve. The kind that turns betrayal into justice exactly 60 seconds later. The doors burst open. Military police stormed the venue in full tactical presence, boots echoing, lights flashing outside. The music cut off. Guests froze in shock. Elena's face went from smug to terrified. In an instant, as the officers moved with precision through the crowd, heading straight for the main area, she tried to play it off at first, laughing nervously. "What is this? Some kind of joke?" But the lead officer walked right up to me, saluted sharply, and asked, "Captain, are you all right? We received a report of an assault on a commissioned officer." The entire room went dead silent. Elena's mouth fell open. The color drained from her face as the reality hit her. She had just thrown wine, publicly assaulted a decorated captain in front of witnesses. And not just any captain, one whose unit had direct authority in situations like this. I stood tall, the red stain still visible on my uniform like a badge of what she had done. My voice was calm but carried through the quiet hall. She poured an entire glass of wine on me in front of everyone. It was deliberate. The officers moved quickly but professionally. They took statements from multiple guests who had seen everything. Elena's fake tears turned real as she realized her perfect night was collapsing. Her fiancé looked horrified. Her wealthy friends suddenly couldn't meet her eyes. She was escorted out in front of the entire crowd, not in handcuffs. But the humiliation was far worse. The venue manager, pale and apologetic, informed her that the event was being shut down immediately due to the security breach and assault on military personnel. Her engagement party ended in chaos, exactly as she had tried to create for me. Later that night, as I changed out of my ruined uniform, I didn't feel anger anymore. I felt peace. The stain on the fabric would wash away eventually, but the stain on her reputation, that would take much longer. Elena called me the next day, crying, begging for forgiveness. She said she didn't know. She said she was sorry. But some apologies come too late. I told her gently that I hoped she would learn from this, that tearing others down to feel bigger never works. True strength doesn't need to humiliate anyone. Today, I still serve with pride. My uniform is clean again, and so is my heart. What Elena tried to destroy only made me stronger. She wanted to expose me as someone unworthy. Instead, the truth exposed her. If there's one thing I've learned from this painful chapter, it's this: never let anyone make you feel small for living with honor. Betrayal hurts deeply, especially from family. But when you stand in your truth, justice has a way of arriving faster than you expect, sometimes in exactly 60 seconds. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you loved, know that you are not alone. Your dignity cannot be stained forever. Hold your head high. The right response always comes. And remember, kindness costs nothing, but cruelty always has a price.